The Gospel of Truth Explained. Introduction. The Buried Voice. In 1945, a discovery in the sands of Egypt fundamentally changed our understanding of early Christianity. Among the hidden texts of the Nag Hammadi Library was a brilliantly poetic homily that had been lost to history for over 1,500 years. The Gospel of Truth. Unlike the traditional biographies of Jesus, this text does not mention the Sea of Galilee, the parables, or even the name Jesus. Instead, it is a profound mystical meditation on the nature of reality, suffering, and divine awakening. Likely composed in the mid-2nd century by the famous Christian teacher Valentinus. It offers a radical alternative to the standard biblical narrative. Part 1. Salvation through knowledge, not sin. To understand the gospel of truth, we must shift our perspective on what it means to be saved. In the canonical New Testament, humanity's core problem is sin, and salvation requires a Savior to pay a debt through sacrifice. But the gospel of truth flips this script. Here, humanity's fundamental problem is ignorance. The text explains that the material world was created out of a state of cosmic oblivion, ruled by a personified entity called error. Humanity is not inherently wicked. Rather, we are collectively asleep, trapped in a nightmare of fear and illusion. Therefore, salvation does not come from a physical blood sacrifice, but from Gnosis, a Greek word meaning deep, experiential knowledge. Christ is described not as a sacrificial lamb, but as a divine teacher, a way and a light who wakes humanity up from its terrifying cosmic dream. Part 2. The mystical view of God and Christ. The text describes God the Father in a profoundly abstract term as the invisible, unknowable root or all from which everything originated. Because humanity forgot its origin, we fell into anguish. To rescue us, the Father emanated the Word, or the Son. The Gospel of Truth uses a fascinating metaphor. It compares Christ to a living book of the living. The secret book was written in the mind of the Father before creation, but no one could read it. Christ manifests in a physical body so that this book can be opened. By being crucified, Christ publishes the Father's true identity to the cosmos, showing humanity that their true home is the spiritual realm, not the physical world. The relationship to the canonical Bible. While early church Orthodox leaders, like Irenaeus, fiercely rejected Valentinus' teachings as heretical, the Gospel of Truth actually shares a deeply complex relationship with the canonical Bible. Scholars note that the author does not reject the New Testament writings. Instead, he masterfully weaves their language into a deep new tapestry. The Johannine connection. Much like the Gospel of John, the Gospel of Truth is obsessed with the dualities of light and darkness, truth and error, and focuses heavily on Christ as the pre-existent Logos, or Word. The Pauline connection. The text echoes the letters of Paul, speaking of Christ destroying the cosmic principalities and powers, and adopting believers into divine sonship. However, the Gospel of Truth diverges sharply in its destination. Where the canonical Bible promises a future physical resurrection of the flesh and a new perfected earth, the gospel of truth looks forward to a strictly spiritual return. Salvation is an internal reality happening now, resulting in the total dissolution of the material world back into the spiritual oneness of the Father. Conclusion: a different lens on faith. The gospel of truth was ultimately left out of the Christian canon and suppressed for centuries as a dangerous Gnostic heresy. Yet reading it today reveals it wasn't a malicious attempt to destroy the faith, but an early, highly sophisticated Christian philosophy. It stands as a reminder of the vibrant, diverse theological debate that shaped the ancient world, challenging us to consider whether spiritual awakening comes from looking outward at history or looking inward at the soul.